They're in the market for a World Cup winner. That's the main interest in Enzo Fernandez, but progress on a deal is yet to be made. We understand that Chelsea aren't prepared to pay Benfica the release clause in full. That's £105 million. Remember, he only cost around £10 million in the summer, so 6 or 7 months ago. Anton, why is he worth so much now?
Partly, you mentioned it, the World Cup winner sort of is a huge element to it. You know, it's not exactly a bad place to show how good a footballer you are, but week in, week out since joining Benfica, he's proved he's not just a very good player, he's the best player in that position in the league, and the stats clearly prove it as well. He's attempted more passes than any other midfielder in the Portuguese league, successful passes, and crucially, successful passes in the opposition half. Around half of those passes come further forward into the opposition territory. That's a huge benefit as well. He shows he can do it all over the park. He carries the ball really, really well as well. And again, more than any other player in that position in the Portuguese league. And they aren't, you know, we talk about other, Portugal midfielders there, we talk about other internationals he's up against. And this, within his first few months of walking into the league, has proved I'm better at doing that than the rest of you. Not just the ball carries, but how far he takes it as well. That's in metres there, 2,334 metres is way more than anybody else this season as well. So he's not just sort of attempting to do a lot, he's successfully doing things all around the pitch, and it's having a great effect on that Benfica side, and every head coach is looking at that going, oh, I'd love a bit of that in my team. Not just getting a box-to-box midfielder, but actually effectively uses the ball. Yeah, take my money.
How impressed are you with that, Dan?
Yeah, one thing that wasn't mentioned in those stats as well is his ball. No, sorry, do better next time, Anton. One of the things that wasn't mentioned is his ball recoveries. He was so good at recovering that ball for Argentina in the World Cup. I think of that, back to that Australia game as well. And you look at Argentina's first game in the World Cup where they struggled against Saudi Arabia. It was actually him coming into the team that acted as a bit of a lightning rod, and from then on they never really looked back with him coming into that midfield. So Chelsea would do well to get him. I think the fee is obviously very, very high, partly to do with the fact that he's got that massive release clause, and partly because, like Anton says, he's just won the World Cup. So Benfica, a bit like Shakhtar, are going to want to strike while the iron is hot and try and get as much money as they can. And now seems like the right time to do that for them.
And Zach, have we seen a transfer policy as such since Todd Boehly took over the club?
Yeah, I think most definitely. Obviously, there have been signings like Sterling, Aubameyang and Koulibaly, but they were kind of needed in that moment with the players that had left as well in the summer. Timo Werner leaving, they needed a forward, so on and so forth. I mean, the centre-backs. But what you are seeing is a lot of youngsters joining. Wesley Fofana, 21 years old. Cucurella, 24 years old. Chukwuemeka, 18. Datro Fofana, who's happened in the January window, 20. Gabriel Salina, 18 years old. Andre Santos, another 18-year-old midfielder, Brazilian, who's supposed to be joining. And so Enzo Fernandez fits that mould, 21 years old, soon to be 22. Yeah, I think what they're kind of doing now is, previously, with, say, Wesley Fofana, for instance, they were willing to let St Etienne sell him to a Leicester City and let them develop him and become the superstar and pay the premium to make sure that he's good. I think what they're trying to do is cut out the middleman and go to the St Etiennes, go to the Benficas or so on and so forth, the smaller clubs, and get them in early, and so they don't have to pay the huge fee like they possibly might do with Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, a lot of people on our YouTube channel are in the comments saying that they want Liverpool to come in and sign Enzo Fernandez as well, and we've been talking about that, but potentially about how much he would improve their midfield. We should just say also, it's looking like a busy month for Chelsea. We are still awaiting developments on the deal to sign Benoit Badiashile from Monaco. He's been having his medical this week, so we're just waiting, I suppose, for confirmation on that. And also on a poll on our YouTube channel, it says, will Chelsea sign Enzo Fernandez? Very simple, yes or no. And so far, 66% of you say that Chelsea will.